Welcome to New Year's Activations with Raina. Today I put up a post about fasting. I began my fast probably a little before sunset yesterday. And I did a 24-hour fast. I've done a 10-day fast, a 21-day fast. And if you want to start doing a fast, and if you eat 3 times a day, it's best to try to go without 1 meal, and then go without 2 meals, and then go without 3 meals, and then go the whole day without food. You can try it with just water, and then try it with no water, no food. Well, there's many ways in which you can do a fast. And this is just one of the many. Also, if you eat meat or seafood, try vegan food for 1 day or for 1 meal. And then keep experimenting with it and become more creative with it. Because whether you know it or not, if you stop eating meat and seafood altogether, it raises your vibration. But you go in your heart of hearts and see what's best for you. I'm just saying, experiment with it and see how you feel when you do experiment with it. These last 2 days have been just too much. Too much. Because my phone was turned off. That shouldn't have happened, but over the summer I had to trade my phone in because I used up all my memory, which was 1 terabyte. I used up all the memory there was. So I tried to delete it, get rid of it, and still it wouldn't do anything. Then I went looking for a new phone. And everywhere I went to look for phones, all they offered was 1 terabyte. Except for the one, I had a Samsung and an Apple. And the Apple offered more, so I stuck with the Apple. Apple went from 1 terabyte to 12 terabytes of memory. So everywhere I went around here, they couldn't do the transfer from one phone to the other. I went to so many different places. Now I have to go miles out of my way, which takes people 2 hours or 2.5 hours to drive by car one way. If it's public transportation, if you leave early in the morning, it'll be, who knows what time you'll get there that day. But I haven't traded my phones in yet because I haven't been able to do the transfer. So this is why my phone was turned off. Now the phone, from what it should be per month, has what? It's ridiculous what they're asking for it now. That's because I have both phones and the other one. So this is why I have to keep it short until I can get this straightened out. I have my phone working the way I need it to. I just want you to understand that. And then for the past 2 days, I put out too much information, so I had to take it down. The day before, I put out maybe an hour and 20 minutes, and it took all night into the next day, sometime in the late afternoon before it was uploaded, and then I just deleted it. And then I did one the next day, and I just thought, oh, it's just too much, and I got rid of that too. So, and I didn't want to combine the two, the meditation with the talk, because lots of times I have to redo it. So, now, if you've never experienced a Reiki session before, or Reiki, all you need to do is give your consent. Say I consent. Yes. Say yes, nod your head, and sit there and relax, or lie down and like I bring you into these meditations, and this is what you're receiving, but it's not just that. I do things a little differently. And there's reasons for that. I have to do things that I would prefer to do it another way, but I can't do that right now. So I decided to get a little creative with it and just do it a little differently for what I have right now. Sorry about that. Someone was coming and I didn't want to have to talk over it. But if you'd really like to see the information about the food and raising your vibration, just email me and I'll give you the information so that you can look into it yourself. Everything that I'm sharing, I have already been through. I have already seen, and I've taken the time to really look into these things. And there's be a lot of people out there, thinking differently, saying differently, but you know in your heart of hearts what's best for you. I know that's best for me. Being a complete vegan, no meat, no seafood. And it does help. It helps raise your vibration a whole lot. Talking about higher consciousness, it does a world of good. And I think I've said this before, but I don't know if I had to delete those videos, but I'm going to repeat it just in case I did. Excuse me. It's best to come here with an open mind and an open heart. Have no judgments, no sarcasm, no criticism, no negativity, no nothing like that. You want to come here as a newborn baby having no beliefs whatsoever. And experience this like you're brand new to the world and you know nothing. Because if you do it any other way than that, you're blocking it. If you come with a judgment, if you come and think you have all the answers, or you look it up and then you want to come and say you have an answer for this, or you're sarcastic, it's not going to work because you're blocking it. Your mind is focused on that. Your mind is focused on having an answer rather than receiving what it is you're here for. Your heart knows, your mind won't. It's to bypass the logical mind and enter into your heart. You are feeling through it, not thinking through it. My guide shared with me, you have to feel it to heal it. If you're not feeling it, you're not doing anything, because you can't bypass it, because then what happens then is if you're doing spiritual bypassing, you're only prolonging it. There's nothing to fear with your feelings. There's nothing to fear going within. There's nothing to fear meditating. There's nothing to fear. Lose the fear. Fear doesn't exist anyway. and just trust that your heart knows the reason you're here and knows best. And is showing you what you need to know. If you get out of your own way and follow it. When I do these sessions, I introduce myself in the very beginning, and then I step out of the video. And a lot of people have a problem with that. They start wearing masks over their face, or having a headless dummy or a headless mannequin. And it's really ridiculous, because they're showing how judgmental they are. They're showing how sarcastic they are. And I'm not impressed with it. Because if you're not smart enough to figure it out, then what are you doing? You were tempted, you gave in to your temptation, you're trying to take a cheap shot and a cheap stab, which didn't go over well, and that's on you. Because you were not smart enough to see what's really going on here. What's your purpose by drawing a headless art or putting clothes on a headless mannequin? What's your purpose? What's your point? How is that helping others uplift themselves? What is it teaching others? What is it showing others? I don't tolerate nonsense, and I'm the first one to stand up to it when I don't like it. I don't need to put up with it. I never did, and I never will. Even if I stand alone and I think it's what they're doing isn't right, I'll stand up to it by myself. And I've done that many times. I don't care who had my back and who didn't. But at least I stood for something and I wasn't a coward. And just because a bunch of people are doing it doesn't mean I'm going to follow the leader and do the same thing too. Because once you see that, then you see it in the stores. It's like, okay, monkey see, monkey do. It's really ridiculous. It's like they don't have a mind of their own. Oh, well, if they're going to do it, I'm going to do it too. When I do these sessions here, I introduce myself and then I remove myself. I do that because I've already been through it. And really, the whole point of it all is for you to still the mind and focus on your breathing, so that you can receive what you need to receive without blocking it. And sometimes it's good to have the visual with the guide being there, which I will eventually. But at this time, I could tell you more, I would, so I choose to keep it this way for the time being. And I'm not into anything that's cliquish, if you get my drift. Just because somebody did something and, others admire them or respect them for what they did, blah, 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 that doesn't mean I'm gonna, do the same thing. If I don't feel it's right, I'm not gonna do it. And I don't have time to waste my time into being tempted and to lash out or take a cheap shot or a cheap stab at somebody. I don't have time for that nonsense. I really don't. I'm too focused here. I gave my word, dedicated my life to spirituality. I gave my word to God. God's everywhere. Nowhere God isn't. So, and I kept my promise. I stayed on top of it. And I'm still doing my own sessions with my own guy every day. I had one today. Because my intention since I began was to take this as far as I could take it and to keep going. I don't care who liked it. I don't care who didn't like it. I was doing it. I don't care if I knew anybody that was doing it or not, if I could talk to anybody about it or not. I didn't know I'm hearing some things right now. I don't know where it's coming from. Excuse me. And people like to make fun. And I don't like that. I don't admire that. I don't respect that. I think that's not to be respected. When I talk about nobody has to respect you, I feel that if you're sarcastic, you're judgmental, you're criticizing, you're negative, you're bad-mouthing, gossiping, that's not to be respected. And when I say you want to be mindful to do the right thing, when I say that, what I mean is you never know who's looking up to you. You never know who you are an example to, a role model for. You don't know who's looking up to you in secret. Could be a child. So, for me, I always think about those things. So, I want to make sure that I hold myself to a higher standard and way of being in case there is. But I don't know. Nobody knows. Not unless they come out and tell you. And and kids are just so sweet and innocent. And you want to keep it that way. They don't need any mind pollution. And they're more advanced than adults realize. Adults don't always have the answer. Sometimes they have to just be there with them and listen to them because they're trying to show them something. And you never know when you are raising a little genius, a little creative genius, or a being that's really evolved and advanced. And the strict, rigid ways of teaching them isn't really working any longer. It's allowing them to be themselves and do what they want. I don't mean, run all over the place. I mean, if they have a creative gift, you want to support that. And even if you don't understand it, and they're saying it to you, or you know about it, you want to stay on top of that and encourage them to strengthen it. To strengthen their gifts. It's important that they grow up well adjusted. It's important that they are treated with love and care. It's important that they communicate well. It's important that they know how to treat others. Not only others, but other species as well, which means the animals as well as nature. It's important that you teach them not to pollute. Because there are other beings here that live here with us. And if you dump your garbage on the ground and then you have an animal who gets their head stuck in it, then what happens? I know in Tibet, they take, I don't know how many they do this for, but I only know a little bit. I just like the idea of what they do when they take the child as young as 5 and start training them spiritually. I think that's really important. And what I've learned from Tibet, I'll keep with me for the rest of my life. Because that's when I began to crack open, when I learned about Tibet. And the powers that be would prefer that you not do these sessions, would prefer that you just live your life as you are, because in that way they keep you where they want you. All the more reason that this should fuel you and inspire you and motivate you and encourage you to stay on top of it and to keep going with it. It's that important. And if you're experiencing great opposition when you do these sessions, or all the more reason to do it even more. I came here and I wanted to know everything about the Ascended Masters that I could. I wanted to know what they knew. I wanted to be able to do what they did. And Jesus, Yeshua, the Christ would say, all these things you can do and more. Well, when he said more, I wanted to know what he meant by when he said more. What did he mean when he said more? So I jumped on this, hanging on to his coattails as I went through it. And if an Ascended Master chooses you and takes you under their wing, please don't look the other way. But that's entirely up to you. I know someone who, an archangel, was speaking to them and saying to them, you know, I miss you being a warrior. And they didn't do anything. They didn't think it was important. Now, if an archangel spoke like that to me, I'd be on top of that so fast. I'd be all over it, because that's the way I am. If they say something to me and I don't know what it means or I don't understand it, it will stick with me and stay with me until I understand it. And I will stay on top of it until I do get it. I may have been slow in the beginning. I may have been dense. I may have been a tough nut to crack, which I was told I was all of that. But I still stayed on top of it. I didn't quit. I wasn't a sissy. I wasn't lazy. I wasn't procrastinating. I wasn't doing anything of the sort. Nor was I complaining. But at times I didn't understand why I was experiencing things the way I was experiencing it. And so sometimes, you know, I did get frustrated. So what? still didn't quit. I still didn't cave. I didn't give up. I didn't give in, no matter what. Even if there was a tantrum, even if that did happen, so what? I cleaned up the mess afterwards. But the point is, I gave my word and kept my word. If you give your word and then don't, you're not on top of it, then what is your word worth? And even if you do it and then it turns out, you can't use it, well, then you just wasted your time. But at least you did do it. And you learn from that. And then you keep going. So I just wanted to share that with you. I tried to get a video of the sunset, but I didn't get a good video. It was just beautiful today. And, I kind of wanted the sun to stay up all night. I didn't want it to set at all. I just wanted it to stay up with me all night. And no matter how many times I've asked, I still had to wait till next morning. But if you have any questions, any comments, just post it in the description box below or email me at reinadhabsburg@gmail.com. If you'd like me to do an energy reading, send me a picture. Recently I was at someone's house doing a lot around the house, doing healings for them, doing healings for their kids, doing healings for their pets. So just send me a picture and I'll be happy to do that for you. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to register for a group or private, or group or personal, you can email me or put in the description box below and just let me know. And I want to end it with a prayer that my guide shared with me. We love and bless all humanity. We love and bless all creations. I'll see you next time.